All right, let's talk about the big bombshell that Melania Trump has dropped. Melania Trump has thrust the Jeffrey Epstein case back into the global spotlight with her new statement from the White House. The First Lady of the United States dismissed allegations of personal or social ties with Epstein and pushed back on suggestions of a deeper connection with Epstein as false and defamatory. Melania Trump maintains that any interactions were limited and incidental. But she did not stop there. She turned the moment into a call for action and urged the Congress to hold public hearings. Melania Trump said that survivors of Epstein's crimes deserve the chance to testify openly, formally, and without being pushed to the margins.
I call on Congress to provide the women who have been victimized by Epstein with a public hearing specifically centered around the survivors.
Now, this response was immediate and unusually bipartisan. Both Republican and Democratic lawmakers on either side of the aisle in the Congress supported the transparency call of the First Lady. Democratic Representative Robert Garcia urged the House Oversight Committee to act immediately, and former Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene thanked her for supporting the victims. But even as she calls for testimonies, questions are now emerging about whether she herself could be asked to appear. Previously, Hillary Clinton appeared before the committee in a closed-door deposition. In the newly released documents of the Epstein files, they contain an old email from Melania. This email was sent to Ghislaine Maxwell back in 2002 regarding a New York Times Magazine article on Epstein. Melania's recent appeal may draw further scrutiny as investigators and lawmakers will go through those very records. Her call also comes at a time when the release of millions of pages of Justice Department records has reopened old wounds for many survivors. What was meant to shed light has done the opposite for many survivors. Personal details were exposed that left them vulnerable. But the timing and the moment of Melania Trump's defense is hard to ignore. Donald Trump is currently consumed by the war against Iran, a story that has dominated headlines and political attention, and therefore the Epstein case had quietly slipped out of global focus. Melania's statement changes that very situation. The First Lady has pulled the issue back into the spotlight at a moment when few were talking about it. This disrupts that very news cycle and forces a return to questions that remain unanswered.
You know why Melania Trump is bringing this up right now, today, at this time? She has been in the news related to Jeffrey Epstein for over a year now, since this administration started, and well before that, too. She's been connected to Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. So it's puzzling that she would come out with this now. It appears she either is promoting her book, which she mentioned during her remarks, or she's perhaps trying to distract from other news, like Pam Bondi refusing to testify, or the Iran war.
Now, it appears that every time the White House tried to quell the drama over the Epstein files, it seems to have had an opposite effect. When victims of Epstein who had bravely gone public about their ordeals have injected their campaign with new momentum, the First Lady's remarks may have a similar impact. Trump has spent months insisting that the Epstein issue is a Democratic hoax and said that it is time for the country to move on. His frustration that the scandal is still rumbling on was reportedly one of the reasons why he fired Attorney General Pam Bondi last week. The Department of Justice informed the House Oversight Committee that Pam Bondi will not appear before the Republican-led panel next week to answer questions about the Justice Department's handling of the Epstein case, raising further questions about transparency.